I want to bring together some separate bits of news on immigration policy and show you what it adds up to, because I think it's a really big deal, and it was all happening this week. First, the wall. After all that fuss, all those dramas, government shutdowns, whatever, we learned this week that, guess what? The wall is being built. 60 miles already done, and between 450 and 500 by the end of next year. As always, when we talk immigration, I'll start by saying I am pro-immigration. I'm an immigrant myself, twice over, my parents to Hungary, and now me here to America, where, as I mentioned a couple of months ago, I hope I'll soon be a citizen. I think the vast majority of Americans are pro-immigration, as long as it is properly controlled. And I think the vast majority of Americans are compassionate people who also want to give sanctuary to refugees fleeing persecution, as long as that is authentic. And by the way, that goes for the vast majority of Trump supporters, decent people who just want the best for their country and are sick of being smeared as racist for supporting immigration policies which, let me remind you, were once widely held by Democrats. Let's pick, I don't know, a couple of random Democrats. How about Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer? In the case of Joe Biden, very random.
I voted for a fence. I voted, unlike most Democrats, and some of you won't like it, I voted for 700 miles.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and on rationalizing our system of legal immigration. It's plain and simple and unavoidable.
Who could possibly disagree with that? Oh.
We can't wall ourselves off from the problems that are not bound by borders. The threat of communicable disease like Zika, drug trafficking, climate change. No wall can be built.
It is a shame that this president, who is plunging the nation into chaos, is throwing another temper tantrum and going to hurt lots of innocent people. The Trump temper tantrum may produce a government shutdown. It will not get him his wall.
Oh, is it Biden? Is so ridiculous. Okay, well, look, Biden, just stop for a second. Biden says no wall. Biden says no wall can be built. What, apart from the 700 miles that he said he voted for, more than President Trump wants.
He was so serious.
Oh, my God.
But it was a fence.
We have I've got more.
It was a picket fence.
He's not done.
He's not done.
A wall, of course, is immoral, except both of them voted for the 2006 Secure Fence Act, which actually had more money in it for more wall than even President Trump is building. Whatever the issue, whatever the facts, if Trump's for it, they're against it, regardless of their previous views. What a bunch of total charlatans these Democrats are. It's the same idiocy with asylum. The president and his team scored a major victory in the Supreme Court this week, which lifted an injunction on a new rule which requires asylum seekers to claim asylum in the first safe country they come to, rather than travel through countries because they want to get to America and claim asylum here. Predictably, the Democrats lost their minds, Nancy Pelosi releasing a totally deranged and factually inaccurate statement, including this, quote, "The Supreme Court's decision to allow the Trump administration to inflict its cruel new asylum policy on the world's most vulnerable populations at the southern border is deeply disappointing, profoundly dangerous, and a clear departure from both U.S. and international law." These people are so ridiculous. It's not a departure from international law. It brings us in line with international law. Do they even know that this new Trump asylum policy is basically the same as the EU's? Look, there's a difference between asylum and migration. Of course, people want to come to America. It's the greatest place in the world. But you've got to have an orderly process. Public consent for immigration depends on government control of immigration. We haven't had that here since at least 1986, when President Reagan signed the disastrous Immigration Reform and Control Act, which did, by the way, the exact opposite of that. El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala are democracies, not dictatorships. Guatemala just voted in a new president. The Democrats and the establishment say those countries are corrupt. Well, yes, they are, but not as corrupt as Washington, where Vice President Biden took over $1 billion in bribes from the Chinese government in the form of payments to Biden family businesses, or where Vice President Dick Cheney engineered a war that funneled billions of dollars to the company where he was CEO, or where members of Congress are funded by the exact same businesses they regulate. We'll be talking about that particular scandal later in the show. The asylum seekers are fleeing crime and gang violence, we're told. Yes, they are. But guess what? Those same gangs are here. The Democrats and the establishment state media have totally lost the plot on immigration. That's because they've lost touch with working Americans. It's not their jobs being lost. It's not their incomes going down. It's not their kids' schools being overwhelmed. By contrast, the Trump administration is finally putting together the reasonable, coherent immigration policy this country's been crying out for nearly 50 years. We see it with the wall going up, but it's much more than that. In many ways, it's 5 walls, the physical one, but also the legal one, with the asylum change, a technology wall, an entitlement reform wall to help reduce incentives, and a foreign policy wall to encourage other countries to do more, as we saw with immediate results with Mexico and the tariffs threat. On top of all that, and totally contradicting the establishment lie that this is a xenophobic, restrictionist approach. These are walls, as the saying goes, with a door. Months ago, the president announced a plan not to cut legal immigration, but to keep it at present levels, instead reforming it to become a merit-based system. All of this is utterly reasonable and in line with mainstream opinion in this country. The Democrats' lurch to the open borders left is the real extremist position on immigration today. Tell me what you think of all that at Steve Hilton X and at NextRev FNC. Right, who wants to kick us off?
Let me say this. The most important situation that happened over the last week was the Supreme Court's decision on asylum. It does so much more than what had happened in the past. Building the wall is just part of that infrastructure to try to stop illegal immigration. The asylum law, being able to enforce that is a deterrent. I've been there so many times, Steve. I was in Guatemala twice this last year. I've been on the border, and I know what's going on there. The drug cartels and the human traffickers use these asylum laws to bring more and more people in. They're not fleeing gangs. A lot of them are coming here for jobs, for better jobs.
Some of them are fleeing gangs.
Some of them are, but let me be fair too. I was in Guatemala, and I was in a lot of these different villages, and I was talking to the Guatemalan government, and I was there on the ground. There are issues with gangs. There are issues with gangs here, but the majority of people were fleeing economic poverty. They were coming to the United States, and they were told, they were actually rehearsing on the way to the border what they would need to say to get into the United States. Say that you're fleeing gangs. Say that you're part of a domestic violence. Tell them that you can't return for political reasons. And then we saw it spread to the children. Bring your children in, and you'll get safe harbor in the United States. Then we saw it go outside of Central America to Africa and to other nations where people were saying, look, if we make these same conditions, meet these same conditions to enter the United States, we'll be able to get in. And that is a huge problem, and it is a national security risk. The president did the right thing, and so did the Supreme Court in this case.
Yeah. When I see that video of Nancy and Chuck and Joe Biden and their immigration views from less than 10 years ago.
Less than 10 years.
My fake eyelashes almost fell off because I was rolling my eyes so hard. Are you guys serious? I mean, it's on tape. This is why we can't get anything done with immigration, because it's a partisan issue. It's not really based on logic or reason or how each party feels about something. It's based on the opposite position to take, so that I can run on this, so I can run a campaign on this.
That's why people are so fed up.
People are so fed up. I like to think of myself as just a kind of a typical normal American. I'm an immigrant as well. I'm Canadian, and I'm fed up. I don't have much more to give.
And the thing is that that Chuck Schumer tape that we played, I mean, in that same speech, I mean, we could just run the whole thing. I mean, another part of it is really significant, where he was talking specifically about what you're talking about, the economic migrants and the impact on low-wage migration, and how we've got to stop that because it hurts American workers.
Right.
That's what Schumer was saying.
Exactly, and he's right on that. But let's note that elections have consequences, and Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell in the Senate, and I'm a House guy, we get frustrated with the Senate, but they are passing all the nominations of the president, putting them in places, and the courts matter. And when they affirm the president on the asylum law, we're not opposed to those who are being, afraid for their lives coming into America.
Right.
We just want an orderly process. So if you come from Guatemala and you get to Mexico, you have to stop in Mexico and you apply to get into our country. I was at the border as well, and people aren't coming through ports of entry. They're actually coming across rivers, and it's just a mad flood, this mass chaos into the country.
They're actually ringing bells and having Border Patrol come pick them up in different areas along the border. It's the most insane thing. Come pick us up and get us, you know, a ride over to Border Patrol station.
So if you have a legitimate claim, you're going to make that claim and you're going to be able to get into the country. If you don't, you're going to be turned back. But you mentioned walls as well. The Democrat convention is going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What do you think the Democrats are going to build around that convention?
Yeah.
A wall.
A wall.
And you're going to need a ticket.
Tear down that wall, Sean. I think
You need a ticket to get in. Why not use that same philosophy on our border? Build a wall, get a ticket to get into the country, and if you don't, you get kicked out.
We've got to move.
Great point.
Great point.
Great discussion. Thank you, everyone. Right.